Alejandro, thanks so much for joining us here. First off, how are you and your family doing through this really unprecedented time?
Well, I'm doing very well. Hunkered down here in Pennsylvania. Usually it's so cold this time of the year that, with the kids, we don't leave the house that much, maybe to go on fishing trips here and there. So this year it hasn't been any different. The only, obviously, the big obvious reason is my family's from Spain. They all live in Madrid, and it's been, hit pretty hard by the coronavirus. So not being able to be with them or the uncertainty of the times, obviously uncertainty of my profession, football, one of the businesses opening up, all that is affecting me just like it's affecting everybody else.
What's your daily life like? Obviously you're getting workouts and trying to stay sharp. What does the day look like?
I try to keep a routine. I try to stay focused on football. Had it not been for the coronavirus, I would have gone to the facility every single day. Not many players in the NFL go to the facility all year round, but I like to have that routine. Sort of in the Army, when you wake up and you go to formation and you're talking to your soldiers or you're talking to your peers, that social aspect of football, it needs to be there all year round. And the NFL, only happens from September through February. So for me, it's very important to go to the facility every single day, have a workout, watch film, eat, and talk to the trainers and coaches. So I try to do the same exact thing, but from home, even though it's not the same experience. But get my workout in the morning, watch the film. The film is all remote. We've been doing it for a while, so watching film is not an issue. And then just FaceTiming coaches and peers to see how they're doing. And then obviously, go back to being a dad for the rest of the day, which is something that my wife is pretty happy about.
So you look at your time in the Army, and it's been talked about, the road you've taken to the NFL from West Point, from Spain. When you think of your Army experience, what's the maybe couple of things that you could really draw on that's helped you in leadership and execution playing in the National Football League?
That's a very tough question. I mean, it's I was very thankful for the institution, the way they change your views, they make you more selfless, they make you become somebody who wants to do more. That's reflected sort of in my ambition to go infantry and be an infantry officer, to try to serve to the best of my abilities. And then it teaches you a lot about yourself. That's the second part, that I was very, very thankful, not just West Point, but the Army itself. Who are you when you're going to be challenged? What type of person you're going to be when you have to accomplish a goal, motivate others, what type of leader you're going to be. Not that many places are going to test you like that. And that's one of the things that I keep realizing now.
Alejandro, being in the NFL locker room, there's players from all walks of life, all different universities. What does it mean to have West Point, be part of you, to represent the U.S. Military Academy in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know if they all come from a lot of universities. They mostly come from the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12. They have their egos of, which division is better and what athletes, choose to go where. I mean, it's a pretty interesting dynamic every single year. You have the arguments of whether the SEC, should be compared to even the rest and whatnot. I think, West Point in that sense it's in a completely different category. Just because you've had a job before you showed up to the NFL. So it gives you a lot of humility, especially when you receive the paychecks. It gives you a lot of humility. It gives you a lot of humility to appreciate the job of others, whether it's the staff, the trainers, the people that prepare your food. I mean, all those jobs, you understand, sort of the logistics behind the effort that it takes to make something like an organization run. And so I do feel like it's a very awesome experience being able to have the NFL as a second job, because it just allows you to be a lot more thankful, and especially in a player like myself who tried so many different times throughout 5 years to try to get a roster spot.
You talk about trying for 5 years and being in the Army and thinking of the National Football League. Were there maybe one or two people in the Army that had an impact on you to help make you that person, that leader that you are today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the cool things about West Point is that they repeat, over and over again, you cannot do this by yourself. From the moment you get to West Point until you graduate, probably the NCOs are as much as a part of your life as the officers, because you see them, every single day. You have an E7 in your barracks who's making sure that you learn how to be accountable and you understand, sort of the roles in the Army and where the experience is allocated. So I thought that, listening to NCOs has always been, one of the things that I've really appreciated. One of those lessons from West Point. And then the overall inspiration that you get from your teachers is also very, very valuable. Some of the teachers that I got at West Point later became my commanders, later became my future officers. And, to be taught math or to be taught political science from a teacher in a traditional teacher role, and then graduate and have him be your battalion commander and a different person, with more anger and now he's holding you accountable, not for your homework, but, to making sure you get things done. That experience was also amazing. I also have to say that the coaches at West Point were very influential. Andy Guider, the wide receiver coach that we had was awesome. Coach Tice was unbelievable. And then the only person in my entire time that I was in the Army that believed that I could play in the NFL was Coach Brock. He was the only person that said, you know what, one day you could, work for 6 months and play football and spend the other 6 going fishing. So that was an idea that got stuck in the back of my head for the time I was in the Army.
What's the one thing you miss most about West Point?
You know what? As soon as you graduate, it's when you can start counting your number of friends, and you can start dividing them by half, every single year. And I think that you could say the same thing about every single person that graduates from college. You have an awesome group of friends when you're at West Point, and then every single year, whether you PCS, you leave the Army and you show up in a different city, the friends is by far the thing that I miss the most.
So, Alejandro, Sunday Night Football, I watch it with my wife, Katie. I always have to rewind if we join after the first drive. If you can give us that great NBC intro for you.
All right, I'll give you the real one right here. Ready? Alejandro Villanueva, United States Military Academy.
I love it. I love the T-shirt, too. You still keep in touch with the team, I know.
Keep in touch. I try to, as best I can, help out the young guys that are coming out to the NFL, try to show up to the academy whenever I'm invited and help out any way I can. Extremely proud of being an Army football player. Army football has been one of the greatest things that's happened in my life. That's how I met my wife. That's how I started playing football. That's how I, got motivated to do and finish West Point to the best of my ability. So I have everything. I'm in debt to Army football life forever.
Alejandro, always great spending time with you. Best of luck through this offseason. Best to your family and your extended family, of course, in the United States and overseas.
Thanks, Rich.